All right, guys, we got Javon Bennett and Jordan Durkheck for tonight.
Javon, how bad did you guys need that one?
Badly. Coming off 4 straight losses, we knew it was going to be important to come in this game, and we knew it was going to be easy, but we kind of saw what we did wrong in those games, and I think we did a good job of holding well against the opponent.
Jordan, tell us about those last 2 free throws and just how you were able to get to the line a lot tonight.
Well, the last 2 in particular, I think credit to my guys. There was, I think someone called a timeout, so I had time to think about it, but not one of my guys had anything but confidence in me. It was all positive words. I kind of knew once I got to the line I was making those moves.
What were you thinking when you were standing at the line, telling yourself?
Well, first I was telling myself I'm not losing this game, and then I was like, let me just do what I do every day. We work on those every single day, so it's nothing new.
The sequence, Jordan, that led to the foul and those free throws at the very end, apart from the shot going in and getting the foul, did that play on board as you were expecting it to? Or
I knew the ball would come to my side. The thing I was thinking about, which I really didn't execute at all, was getting the last shot of the game for us. As soon as I got the ball, I kind of just attacked, and it was just in my nature to draw a foul.
Javon, what do you think about his knack for drawing fouls and getting to the line?
No, I think that's one of his strengths. He gets to the free throw line and kind of hurts the other team, because he helps us get the bonus. And I've already known that he's an aggressive guy and he's gonna get to the paint. So it's a big plus for us to have him on the team.
Javon, what was the message leading up to this game from the coaching staff amongst the players, just about trying to just find a way to get back in the win column?
I would say the big word we were using was pride. I think we had we kind of lost our sense of pride and what it means to play at Dayton, and I feel like Coach really mentioned that in yesterday's practice, and I feel like the guys responded well today, and hopefully we can just keep continuing that and build off of this.
Jordan, do you have the mindset every time you have the ball to get to the basket?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I want to do whatever it takes to help the team win, to be impactful, and contribute to winning. So for me, if I see a lane, if I see that I can get to the rim, that's what I'm going to do. And if it comes up that I'm getting doubled or someone steps up and I want to make the right play, I'm going to do that.
Then you realize, though, that's a real plus for you, right? I mean, you don't have to be the highest flyer or the quickest guy. You can get in there and just make somebody foul you. Period.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm getting old. So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're telling me?
No, I try to do whatever it takes to win the game. So, I figured out I'm good at drawing fouls and helping the team that way. So, again, whatever it takes to win, I'll get it done.
Why are you laughing at all that?
Because he's saying he's old, but he's really not that old.
I saw right at the end of when they were inbounding with 2.3 seconds, the two of you were back with number 8, I think. And
Yeah.
you said something that made him kind of laugh, and he turned around. He turned around and looked at you and laughed a little bit. What did you?
I told him that all right. I told him that we had the hands team on the court, and I was wondering why he was back there. Why didn't we put somebody else with their hands on the court? But no. I was praying that it threw it deep because I thought I was going to get a hand on it, and wound up not going to come to me. So.
Have you ever been in that situation? Have to make 2 free throws to win a game like that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure when, but I've definitely been in situations where I have to make clutch free throws.
You missed some time a while back. What was your injury, and what did it take to get back on the court?
I just had like a midfoot injury. I don't really. It's hard for me to get into the medical piece of that. Kind of let our trainers deal with that. They say crazy words, and I just kind of listen to it.
Javon, can you describe your drive for the basket that ties the game?
Yeah, I kind of noticed it was a broken floor. We just got a turnover, and they were kind of late to get back. And I saw the big man was guarding me, and I kind of saw the lane, so I kind of set him up in my crossover and got to the basket. So.
Jordan, how does this group now build on this? I know you guys wanted to just kind of stop the losing streak, but how do you guys kind of build on it and go from here?
Yeah, we got to take it day by day. We got to get everybody playing their best basketball in March. Again, it's gonna take a lot, but our coaches believe in us. Our coaches do a great job of scouting. So when we have a good staff like that, we can accomplish anything.
Javon, you said you guys lost your pride or something, but how's that happen? How could you?
I mean, I think that comes with complacency. I think we won without some key contributors on the team with our big man, and we kind of felt like a sense that we could accomplish something. And the truth is, we did it. And we still have a bunch of basketball left to play, and I'm kind of glad it happened now and not when it really matters. Towards the end of March. So just figuring out ways to help the team, and I think Coach does a great job of telling the team what we need to hear.
And how did Coach Grant bring that point home to you?
No, he was just saying we gotta be willing to get out our comfort zone. He kept saying harping on that, and he was correct. You're not gonna be able to win, doing what you feel like is easy to do. You gotta be able to do the hard stuff. I feel like we did that tonight.
You guys tried something different tonight. Jacob was bringing the ball off court most of the night and playing a lot of the point. What was the reason? Is that to help you too with your shooting, getting the ball maybe?
Yeah, I think Coach was willing to do stuff that is the best interest in the team, and I always trust what he's going to do. So he felt like that was the best decision for the team, and it worked out.
Yeah, in the first half especially. I mean, you saw the shots falling, and they hadn't been falling like that. How did that feel good?
No, it always feels good. We can make shots, and I think the guys did a good job of moving the ball, and it happened to find my hand, and these guys have the ultimate confidence in me to hit shots. So.
You guys got a big game on Friday, rivalry game. What will you tell your teammates who haven't experienced the ECU game about that series?
We told them it's a very hostile environment. We don't like each other. The programs have been battling each other for a very long time. So we just got to come in with the right mindset and watch film and go in there and try to win.
Last year you went there and did win. How much do you remember of that game and anything that applied there that might apply this Friday night?
We just got to do the little stuff. Like I said, I think Coach is going to obviously going to watch film, and it's a whole different team than they had last year. But we got to worry about what we can do and on our side, and everything will fall into place.
All right. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Coleman.
Yeah.
Well, obviously happy to be able to get a win. And I, like I told the guys, to me, it's a combination of, for all of us. Obviously, it's been a couple of tough weeks with 4 straight losses. Combination of happiness and relief, right? That you're able to kind of show resolve and be able to fight and stay together and believe and do all the things that you have to do when you face adversity. So the last couple of weeks, we've been hit with a good deal of adversity. Like I always talk about, we could throw out, 100 excuses, and probably everybody in this room's got 100 in your pocket that you could have. But these guys understood the sense of urgency we needed to have today. They played with a level of confidence and conviction through the adversity that the game brought today. Right, the second half, obviously, you had a double-digit lead, and they made a run. I thought we left some things on the table there. I thought, we got to continue to build our stamina and our endurance, getting some guys back that have been out. And I think all that stuff played a little bit of a factor. Give St. Bonaventure credit. They fought. They've been, a team that you could say somewhat snake bitten in terms of, you look at the record and the record says whatever it is in conference. I think this may have been the seventh conference loss. At least 5 of the games they've had leads, sometimes double-digit leads late, and have not been able to finish. And obviously tonight, was one of those back and forth games that we were fortunate to win. But their record doesn't indicate the job that Smitty's done and keeping his team believing and fighting and putting them in position to win. They're going to be a dangerous team if they continue to do those things. They got some really, really talented guys, and obviously we know how good of a coach Smitty is. So just proud that we were able to get the win. I think it wasn't perfect. We have to continue to understand that we need to get better. We need to keep moving the needle and getting better. But it's always good when you can get a positive result in the middle of, what's been a very challenging couple of weeks in terms of wins and losses, but probably longer than that in terms of guys being out, trying to get guys back acclimated, trying to get chemistry and the roles and all that stuff. So the guys have really done a good job of just staying the course, right? And so I think that kind of sums up my thoughts.
What did you think of Jordan's ability to get to the basket there at the end and to make the free throws?
Well, I think he's proven he can do that all year. For Jordan, he's dealt with his own individual share of adversity from in the summer, missing the entire summer, coming back and obviously getting hurt. I think it was the George Washington game, and then missing and having to remain patient, and he wanted to be out there. And I think our medical staff did a great job of keeping him engaged and keeping him patient to allow him to be able to go out and do what he did today. So I think we've seen it before from him. His impact is bigger than just the numbers. Obviously, 15 free throws today, his ability to get fouled, but the leadership and the confidence that he interjects into the group with his presence can't be measured.
Jamal just talked about the lessons learned from the 4-game losing streak and trying to find that sense of pride again. That especially Friday, how tough that was. What did you say to the guys in recent days to try to get them back on track mentally?
Yeah, David, it's when you win, it's not as good as people want to act like it is. We got to get better. And when you lose, it's not as bad as people want to act like it is. It's a long season. And so we just try to evaluate where we can make a difference, right? And where we can help guys understand what the truth is, not what people that aren't there every day think, right? Like we're there every day. We see them every day. They see each other every day. They've put the work in since June, right? We know what they deal with on a daily basis, from these guys being sick and fighting through an illness and continuing to want to play, guys being injured, right? Hurt, I should say, and fighting through those hurts and still want to play. The guys being injured and can't play, right, and feel like they're letting the team down because they're injured, right, and fighting through, and guys having to step into roles that they hadn't had to play and trying to help the team be successful, and then guys coming back and trying to figure out how to do that. So it's a lot of stuff, right, and so I can't emphasize enough that it's not just the result. And I know we live in a result-oriented world. I get it, but that's not the whole story. So for me to sit here and act like it is, I'm not, right. There's a lot that goes into what we do, and these guys, they want to be good, right. And so my job is to try to help them figure out how they can go about doing that, right, over the course of a long season, right. Like you're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have peaks and valleys. There's going to be adversity that hits you in pretty much every season, right? Like there ain't a lot of, 19, 20 seasons where you go 18-0 on any league, right? So let's just look at what's real, right? Let's keep perspective on what's real, not the fantasy that we try to act like these guys have. They're human beings that go through same stuff that you go through, same stuff that your family goes through, your children go through, right? And so we're doing it on a public stage. Okay, so it's bigger than one result.
Coach, did the starting lineup change to deliver the impact you were hoping for?
I think so. I thought, we needed to figure out a way to get more connected offensively. I thought the first half, our ball movement offensively really kind of helped us. Got different guys were put in position to kind of play to their strengths. I thought defensively helped us as well. So yeah, I thought it had the impact we want.
Coach, you mentioned obviously this one wasn't perfect, and you want to see this group continue on. How important is it to not regress and to continue to build that momentum after this one tonight?
And we're not trying to regress. We're not trying to do that. So you've heard me say it pretty much every game has a life of its own, right? And so we're like I said, a sense of happiness and relief, that we were able to end a bad couple weeks in terms of losing. Nobody wants to do that. We don't feel good about that, right? For ourselves, for the university, for our fan base, we understand the expectations, right? And so, but we're the ones that we got to put the work in every day, right? When you guys go away and think about something else, we're still thinking about it. We're still working on it. We're still motivated and determined, right, to try to put our best foot forward every time that we step in between the lines.
Anthony Durkak spends a lot of time on the floor, whether he's getting knocked down or he's diving for a ball or something. Does that take some guys don't want to do that? It's just a special breed guy.
Yeah, I think it's who he is. I think it's what he brings. And like I said, I think those type of things are inspirational somewhat to his teammates, just to know that he's willing to do, we call them dirty work things, right? He's willing to do all that. And, those kind of things, a lot of times, just like the extra pass, is contagious for your team. When the ball moves and guys are making the extra pass, that becomes contagious. Those effort and those hustle plays, inspire, I think, and motivate guys to understand this is what it takes to go out and try to win.
Anthony, what was happening in your mind? We see the game differently than you do, but during that 9-minute stretch where you couldn't get a field goal, but you got free throws out.
Well, I thought we left a lot on the table. We missed some stuff at the rim that we needed to convert. And sometimes those things can kind of run in cycles as well, right? Yeah. So it's probably I can think of at least 3. It may have been 4 or 5. Where we had shots at the rim that rolled off the backboard, some that rolled off the rim, some that we just didn't time right, and we just missed. And they all happen, like at the back of the bench. We want to know how efficient we're being offensively. So our staff is yelling, 3 empty possessions, we didn't score. 5 empty possessions, we didn't score. 7 empty possessions. I know. Stop. I'm watching the game. But it's just a part of it. And so you try to gauge, what's going on at that time. I said this on the radio. The ability to move on to the next play, right? And not that we did a great job of it in the second half, because our turnovers or those missed shots, led to transition opportunities for them where they were able to get threes, able to get layups. So we talk about a lot of times you see a guy will let a bad play on the offensive end impact what he does on the defensive end. So we talk about not allowing what offensive efficiency or inefficiency affect the discipline and intensity we have on the other end of the floor. And those are habits that you got to build. That's just not, I can't just say that. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll do that, coach. Right? Like, no, you gotta practice that. That's gotta become ingrained. So those are things that basketball is a game of habits, right? It's a game of habits. So you got to be able to build those habits, right? And so those are things that we got to continue to get better at, right? Finishing those plays, right? Or doing the next right thing if something doesn't happen. Do the next right thing, right? And so those are habits that we got to continue to build, and we're going to try to continue to build as we go through. We're first game of February. You know, we feel like there's a lot of basketball left to play, so we just want to try to keep getting better.
When you play a team like St. Bonaventure, they're good on the defensive end like you are. You kind of expect a game like this?
Well, I expect it to be a tough game. You know, just when you look at their backcourt, I think coming into our game, I believe was the highest scoring backcourt in the A10, and you know, they have a front court guy that's pretty unique for our league in terms of his ability. I think he leads the nation in offensive rebounding. He's a load to try to contain on the low block in terms of you got to double him. You know, you got to run people at him. You know, so the combination that they have, I think number 8 coming into our game was leading the A10 in 3 pointers made. You know, so like I said, you know, you look at the record and you're like, oh, well, you know, they're at this position in the league, but then when you watch them play, they've been right there. They could easily be whatever. What are they, 2-7, or whatever the record is, 2-8. They could easily be 8-2, very easy, very easy.
Having Jacob bring the ball up the court, run the point a little bit more than usually done a little bit this season. Was that somewhat to take the pressure off Javon a little bit? He's played a lot of minutes.
I think we're just looking for, you know, for us offensively, a way to flow better, a way to help our guys kind of play to their strengths. So Jacob is versatile. I think Jacob's played every position for us this year, you know. So I think when you think about how difficult that is in our system, right, to go from the 1 to the wing to the 5 to the 4, like I think that's pretty special that he's able to function in all those areas. So he's got a very high IQ, and we felt like we could put him in a position to play to his strengths better in that position and help Vaughn, help Shane, help some of the other guys as well. You know, we've had some struggles of late offensively, right? And so part of what one of the strengths of our team has been when we can set our defense, right, and be able to press and be able to play to that identity. In order to do that, you got to be able to score the ball. Right? You got to have some success putting the ball in the hole. So we got to find better ways to help our guys have that success.
And how was Jalen?
Yeah, he was out today, back. He's been dealing with that. Like I said, you know, he's a trooper. He's fought through, you know, some things to be able to give us what he's been able to give us. So we hope that it's not something that'll be long term. I think we'll rely on our medical staff to kind of keep us informed of his availability moving forward.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.